All right, I tell you what, let's just do it like as usual. This is your group, so do a little intro and do your thing, man.
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Good to see you guys hopping on here. Appreciate your time. I know your time is valuable. Some of you guys know John, some of you guys don't. Let me kind of give you a quick introduction to John Jackson, how kind of we met each other. So John Jackson, king of lease options, well known all across North America. He's pretty much the guru to gurus. He's the one that coached the coaches, I guess you could say. So the way John Jackson and I met a long time ago is he's here in my market. He's here in the Dallas market. And, I was always wholesaling houses, flipping houses, buying rental properties, creating notes. And I had a pretty good pulse on how to run most transactions. Any high equity deal, I think anybody can handle that. They can wholesale it, flip it, rent it, keep it, do whatever they want with it. And then on the low equity side of the transactions, I can either refer these out to agents, or now that I also am an agent, run a team. But also I was taking those over subject to. And then the problem I was having was I was spending a bunch of money marketing, and I come across these high equity properties, like 300K and up, nice, pretty houses, clean houses. And I really didn't know how to kind of capitalize on these leads. And so somehow, I forget how I came across John. I saw him on a webinar, or I met him at an event somewhere, and he was having an event. And so I knew I needed to kind of find out more about the lease option strategy and see if I could have it as a tool in my toolbox. And I knew in Texas that there is some confusion over whether or not lease options were actually legal here in Texas. And John's basically the one that's the foremost leading expert on the Texas lease option and the way to do it correctly. And when I saw him speak, I realized this is something I need to do. And the real reason I went to John in the first place was really to get his paperwork. To be honest, he had the contracts to do this. And really, you are just as good as your paperwork in this business. So that's kind of how John and I met. And along the way, we became good friends. And here we are years later. And right now, John's going to kind of tell you what's happening in the marketplace. So what's interesting about what we're dealing with right now is the market's turning. We all know this. Days on market are going up. Number of actives are going up. Price structures are happening. Building permits are reducing. Things are changing. So your strategies need to change. Creative financing is more powerful than ever right now, sub-2 lease options. And John really capitalized big time back in 2008. Actually blew up his career big time. And while a lot of investors went out of business, his business was absolutely exploding. So he's going to kind of tell you a story. But we're going to see a reset. History does repeat itself. We're at that part of the cycle right now. So the lease option strategy is going to come back in full force. And right now, those who get ahead of this and really start putting time into this and understanding this, you guys could pick up an extra deal or two a month right now. And that's a lot of money when you think about the average. What do you think, John? What's the average assignment fee you're getting right now?
I was, and you're cutting out just a little bit, just not your phone, just that's the internet for you. As you're talking, Connor, I just pulled up, literally as you're talking, I pulled up on Redfin on Tarrant County and Dallas County. You and I are in the Dallas County, Dallas-Fort Worth area. Listen to this, guys. I just pulled up in Dallas and Tarrant County. 3,770 homes have been listed over 60 days. Those are some homeowners that are hurting right now. Can you believe that, Connor? 3,770. That number's going to go up.
Well, the cool thing about doing the lease option strategy is it's very low cost and risk capital, or you don't have a lot of capital needed on the front side. You're not having to go buy these lists. These homeowners are out there sitting on for sale by owner sites right off the MLS. John actually shows you guys a way to do this, working with listed properties, which is unique. But it's a strategy that you guys can do that doesn't take a lot of risk on the front side. Wholesalers in your marketplace are throwing these leads away. Strategic relationships with them can really help get free leads. And so John's going to kind of break down why 2008 is coming back in the same pattern that we're going to see here going forward, and why this is the time to capitalize on this. And he's going to break down the lease option. He's going to talk about multiple different types of lease options. And towards the end of the presentation, he's going to give you some really good in-depth case studies on some of the transactions that he's done and what you can kind of expect doing the strategy. But other than that, guys, I appreciate you coming. John Jackson, appreciate you being here. Let's do this. Let's show them what the lease option strategy can do.
Look at me. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, thanks again, Connor, for putting this together here, guys. Like Connor said, this is definitely a great time to be in lease options. This is a very time sensitive training that you're on here. As I talked about yesterday, this is not a training where it's how to estimate rehabs. You can learn how to estimate rehabs, most any day of the week, most any market, doesn't matter. But learning lease options, guys, this is absolutely crucial. What we're going to be covering here today on this training. It's time sensitive. Why? Because what we're seeing right now is just the very tip of the iceberg of what's about to happen. Guys, we don't even know where the market's going to end up dropping to, but it's about to be ugly. And that ugliness is going to last, I don't know, a year, 2 years. We don't know how long it's going to last. But I'll tell you this, in 2008, it was in 2008, in 2 years later, in 2010, the market still hadn't corrected yet. Mortgage lenders still didn't know what to do yet. Mortgage guidelines were changing still, literally by the day. And now, so imagine this market when you're going to have 30% unemployment. Guys, I don't know what's going to happen with the lending guidelines. It's going to be a bloodbath. And so the question is, where are you going to be? Where are you going to be positioned during this bloodbath? You can sit on the side and curl up and cry, or you can stand up and thrive, as I like to say. And it's the time to stand up and thrive. So yeah, you're going to be making money, as I call it, pandemic profits. But you're going to be making money. But guys, I don't want you to focus on the money so much. Understand you are going to be helping people. All right. When I go through this presentation, I talk about helping these sellers. Guys, I'm going to say this probably a few times. Be the doctor. Now, granted, we've got this stupid virus thing, but it's kind of appropriate. Be the doctor. So when the sellers are coming to you, you're not looking at them with money, money, money. You're going to them as the doctor with a solution to their problem, okay? And one of the things we're going to talk about are the different levels of desperation. And no matter what you're doing in real estate, you need to understand those levels of desperation. I'm going to talk about that as well. You heard me just telling Connor, I literally just pulled up on this computer. By the way, guys, as you see me looking back to the side here, I've got two computers going so I can see what you all see and what I'm seeing my main monitor here. I just pulled up on Redfin, literally as Connor was talking. I took Tarrant County, where I live, so I live in Fort Worth area, Tarrant County, Dallas County, and I searched, okay, how many houses have been on sale for over 60 days? It was 3,770 homes. That's huge. So what does that mean? What does it mean? Well, that means 3,770 homeowners just in two counties right now have had their house in the market for 60 days. That means they probably dropped their price at least twice, and they're starting to go into a little bit of panic mode, because I guarantee you, when that agent got that listing, that agent went through and said, oh, we're going to get an offer in no time. It's such a hot market. Oh, we're going to get full price. And then within 2 weeks, oh, we need to drop the price. And now that over's going to go, and we're going to get all these offers, and that didn't transpire. Now they're going to panic mode, right? Because that homeowner, these 3,770 homeowners, they had another plan. They were going to sell it and move to another house, move out of state, whatever that was. So what does that mean? It means that number is going to go up and up and up. I guarantee you, I pull that in middle of May, it's probably going to be over 4,000 houses on the market over 60 days. These are some of the homeowners that we target. I'm going to talk about some different areas that we target as well. So let me see here and making sure we are recording. So, all right, sounds good. So I'm going to, as the host, let me pull up this, and I'm going to show my screen share. Hit that. It takes a few buttons here to show my screen here, guys, and a slight delay here, and it looks like it's coming up in just a second. And looks good. All right, let's get going. And before just one last check. Connor, you can hear my microphone right? You can hear my microphone good?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear it, Will.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right, sounds good. And keep your mic. Okay, and keep your microphone hot. Connor's here in a little bit here. I'm going to call out on you for some feedback on some stuff. So, all right, guys. So here we go. Lease option assignments. Let's get this thing going. So my company is Leasing to Buy. I started in 2003, and we have focused almost exclusively on what's called lease option assignments. Now, there's three different types of lease options, but I'm going to focus on lease option assignments on this particular training, all right? So it's lease option assignments, or as I like to call it, how to turn $10 into $10,000, because $10 is all you have at risk at any time during these transactions, all right? Now, I know we probably have some wholesalers on the line here on this training. When you do a wholesale deal, you have $10 typically on that contract. This is what we do, all right? Now, what we do is different than wholesaling, and I'll show you the difference there, all right? But what we're doing is flipping paper. So we have a contract with the seller, and we're flipping it to the end buyer. It just so happens our seller has a nice house, and our buyers are not cash buyers. They're people that need a little bit of time for finance, and we'll talk about that. So again, lease options are absolutely perfect for the virtual world as well. I know you probably heard, gotten so many emails about virtual wholesaling and virtual investing and this and that. But the truth is that lease options are really, I think, the easiest method in real estate to use virtually. I've been doing lease options since 2003. In 2004 or so, late 2004, I started doing lease options virtually, meaning I didn't see the houses. I never met the seller, didn't meet the buyers. I never even talked to the buyers. Now, I still did deals myself where I would go see the house. But as I started expanding, I was like, I'm not going to drive 40 minutes to go see this house, or 45 minutes. So I brought on reps. And so I would have reps that would show the house for me, take the applications, show it to the buyer, deposit the cashier's checks. I literally didn't have to do anything. All I did was take the call from the seller, send them the numbers. Looks good. All right, great. Here's the contracts. And that was it. But so what are we going to discuss on this training? We're going to talk about the levels of seller desperation. Very, very important to know that. We're going to talk about why this market is absolutely prime for lease options. We're going to talk about, again, lease option assignments. We're going to talk about where do we find these sellers and where do we find the buyers, and how to average $10,000 to $14,000 per deal. And that's just the average deal is about $10,000 to $12,000, $10,000 to $14,000. We'll talk a little bit about virtual lease options, and we'll talk about the leasing to buy system, how you can actually get started today, literally today, doing getting your lease option business up and going. Now, throughout this training, there's going to be 5 main questions I'm going to ask or answer for you. And speaking of questions, I will say this. At the end of this training, I will be going through and try to answer every question that you all have. So what I suggest you do is, if you have a notepad, a pencil, I know I've got my pencil and paper, write down your questions you have. That way, at the end of the training, you can put them in the chat box or the question box, and I can go through and answer those for you, all right? But I will answer all the questions at the end of the training. All right, so the 5 main questions: where do we get the houses? Right, where do we find these houses, a lease option? Again, why is market prime? How much are you going to make per deal? Where's the competition? And how do you get started? So real quickly, again, some of y'all may know who I am. Just in case you haven't heard of me, again, I'm John Jackson. I'm called the King of Lease Options. One of my first students, actually, Joe McCall, a good friend of mine, had came to me in 2009 to train him on my business model and how to do lease options. And after he came and saw my operation and saw what I was doing, he called me the King of Lease Options. And so that name stuck. I have been on NBC and Fox and different morning shows as well, talking about investors and how to actually make money in real estate without risk and without having to go get loans or credit checks or anything. Yes, you can actually do it. I have done over 650 lease option transactions. Most of those were in the Tarrant County area. I did a lot in Dallas County as well. Keep in mind, I didn't see a lot of those houses. I didn't have to. I am the expert on Texas lease options. I know we've got some people here. I know we're someone in San Antonio. I know we have some people here from Texas. If you want to learn lease options in Texas, I'm the educator to go to. I have educated some of the top educators around the United States. Some of the big names, some of the big boys have come to me to learn my system and how I do lease options and do it so easily and so quickly and in such numbers without any overhead. Matter of fact, even the last week or so has been super busy with educators calling me and lining me up for interviews and again, of course, podcast interviews, et cetera, and wanted to get me on the calendar to help their teams build what I've done with lease options. Co-author #1 book that hit on Amazon, Real Estate Rockstars. That was a lot of fun to do. Hit #1 in 3 categories, actually. And you may probably heard me on Connor's podcast. I always laugh when I see my picture up there. Connor's podcast, been on, I guess, a few times now. And, of course, Mitch Stevens' podcast, my good friend Joe McCall's podcast. So been on different podcasts. Bigger Pockets. If you'll ever go to Bigger Pockets, I was mentioning in the book, No Money Down, because lease options are, in fact, no money down real estate. So just in case you all are wondering if I'm a guru that teaches and I don't actually do this stuff, I do actually do these deals. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you one that I'm working on right now for myself personally. But this is actually what I do. And matter of fact, we have just today, this morning, we have a direct mail campaign going out. So this is exactly what I do. So I actually do these deals. I have students that we work with, we call them our dream partners, different areas in the U.S. that they do these deals. They duplicate my business model. Now, when I talk about these deals we do, Each transaction takes my students about an hour to maybe an hour and a half to complete of their total time. They're not difficult to do. You do have to have the right tools, obviously, but they're really not difficult to do. You're not negotiating with the seller. You're not bartering them on price or anything. You're getting them full price for the property. So you come in, you literally look like the savior because you're getting them full price without haggling. So again, just to show you that this is exactly what I do. Here's the deal. We did on Comanche Ridge in Fort Worth. Actually took 38 days to lease option this house. I'll tell you more about this later in the training here. 38 days, did it, $12,000 assignment fee on that. Again, like I said, our average deals tend to $12,000. But let's assume you were super lazy, right? And maybe only you were doing, say, $10,000 a deal or whatever that number is. If you're lazy, you're going to make $120,000 a year. If you do one deal a month, that's not much. Okay. You still make $120,000 a year. Now, if you're super lazy, and only did one deal every other month, you're still going to make at least $72,000 a year. That's pretty good money for working one deal every other month, right? I guess you do a deal, then you take a month off. So think about this. You got your notepad out, you got your pencil down. What would you do tomorrow if you were to get a cashier's check for $12,000? What would you do if you got a cashier's check for $12,000 like the one I just showed you? Would you pay off credit cards? Maybe buy a car, pay off a car, maybe fund a kid's college fund, buy a motorcycle, medical bills, retire? What would you do with $12,000? And imagine getting that $12,000 again next month, right? If you just do one deal a month, what would you do with that money? Well, we've got some of my students up here. We've got Jack Bullock, that's him and his daughter up in the upper left. Jack actually started funding, I remember his first deal he did, and I'll show it to you. His first deal he ever did, he started funding his daughter's college fund, her 529 fund. There's Rick and Fran right there, love and death. They actually retired. They literally bought Harley Davidsons. They bought motorcycles, and they went all around the country. And I would see him on, he'd send me pictures and stuff, and they're retired now. Karen, my student, she lived in LA at the time, was trying to get real estate going, and ended up doing her first deal. I'll show her first check. And she became an educator, actually, and as a real estate educator, traveled around the U.S. teaching, and has since retired. And she's a grandmother. There's my friend Joe McCall right there. He became of course, as y'all may know him, he became a very well-known educator and host of a very popular real estate podcast. And so he's done very, very well as well. But that all started from the leasing to buy system, the leasing to buy business model. And I'm going to talk to you about that and how you can get started as well. One of our newer students who is in the education space, Julie Atkins, she did $38,000 in about a 6-week period. Here's just some of her earnest money checks that she got on some deals as well. But within a 5 to 6 week period, did $38,000 in lease option assignments. So I always say, prepare to be amazed, because after almost 17 years in this business, I've yet to find anything that is as quick and easy and lucrative and easy to implement as lease options. I just cannot find anything else out there that's even close to it. Regardless of where you happen to be right now in your real estate career. I know we've seen people on this line, they're probably just starting off. Maybe they haven't done a deal. Maybe they're in education mode where they're just absorbing. Maybe you've got people on the call that have done 5, 6, 10 deals. And again, it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter how many times I do a training, webinar, or online training. One of the top questions is always, will this work in whatever city, wherever they happen to live? Will this work in Tennessee? Yeah, but does this work in Jacksonville, Florida? Like, I don't know what they think is so special about their specific town that is going to work everywhere but their little town. It works in every city, every state in the United States. I've even had students from Canada, New Zealand, Australia, England as well. So yes, it works. Anywhere. Now, like I said, maybe you're just starting off on your journey. Maybe you haven't done a deal yet. You're excited. You want to get something going, but your mile marker 0, Mile marker 0, there's so many avenues you can go down with the rentals, fix and flip, notes, tax liens, whatever, and you're nervous which direction you're going to go. Or maybe you've done a deal or two, 3 deals, four deals, but you can't quite get that traction. You're at mile marker 1. So you've made a little progress, but you're trying to really get that momentum going. Again, it doesn't matter where you are in your real estate career. You're in the exact right spot right now. Again, because lease options are not only the easiest strategy in real estate, they're also, I think, the most versatile. And guys, the way I teach lease options, the way I do them, you literally have no more than $10 at risk. That's the most you're going to risk. The owner knows you're not making the payments. He knows you're just structuring the deal, okay? And so you have nothing at risk. Nobody's pulling your credit. You don't have to make any house payments. You literally are flipping paper, okay? So again, they're very, very versatile. You can use lease options, single family, multifamily, commercial. Matter of fact, I'm working with the kind of the grandfather of commercial real estate right now. He wants to put together what I do with his commercial training because they go hand in hand. You can actually use it with storage buildings, planes, ships, cars. And you're thinking, what does planes, ships, and cars have to do with real estate? Well, a lease option. If you're on this training, if you've ever leased a car, Mercedes, BMW, doesn't matter, whatever. If you've leased a car, you actually had a lease option on that car, right? Because you were leasing it, but you had the option to buy it, right? Before the contract expired, right? Before that lease expired, you had a lease option. This is simply a lease option in real estate, okay? Same concept. So what is a lease option here? So a lease option is simply a lease, obviously, with a separate option to purchase. That gives the tenant, the buyer, the right to buy the property at a certain price before a certain time. Remember leasing a car, right? That's a pretty easy concept to think about, is leasing a car, right? Okay, you're leasing a car, you're paying X amount per month. You don't own the car yet, but before that lease expires, you can buy it at that price. Same thing, except this is with a house. So again, simply put, we're taking a lease with the option of purchase together with a seller, and then we're marketing that through signs in the yard, online ads, etc., to buyers that need a little bit of time for financing, all right? So we're talking about nice houses in nice areas, all right? We're talking about BMWs, Mercedes, nice cars, what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with, pieces of junk that you might deal with wholesaling. So we're putting that together. So who are these sellers? Who are these magical sellers, these mysterious sellers that we're working with? Well, guys, remember at the beginning of this training, I said, I just looked very quickly. In Dallas and Tarrant County, there's 3,770 homes right now on the market, just in 2 counties, that have been on the market over 60 days. Over 60 days. Those are our sellers. We're going to target those. So remember I said, we just today, literally today, sent off a mailing we just hit Tarrant County, all right? So we just hit Tarrant County. But who are these sellers? The sellers are people that are simply needing a plan B for their house, right? Plan A is, what do you think plan A is for a seller? Well, plan A is they put a for sale by owner sign in the yard. They're going to save 6% commission. Someone's going to drive by, say, oh my God, this is the greatest house ever. Here's how much you're asking, $300,000. Here's cash, and here's extra for the kids' college fund. Here, go buy yourself a boat. That's plan A. But when plan A doesn't work out, now they're like, okay, now what? So in Dallas and Tarrant County alone, we've got 3,770 homeowners going, now what, right? That's who we help. So they've tried to sell their house maybe for sale by owner, maybe for MLS, maybe for rent by owner, but it hasn't sold, right? These are our homeowners. So what are the advantages of even using a lease option? Well, the owner's getting full price, right? We're not negotiating. No commission, so saving 6%. These are serious buyers. They're not renters. The buyer gets a home warranty. They're going to cash flow. The homeowner's going to cash flow each month. Matter of fact, yesterday on the training, I think I was showing a homeowner that's going to cash flow $820 a month. So going to cash flow each month. These are short-term lease options, usually 12 months. So it's a very short term. The sellers are happy to do that because they see the light at the end of the tunnel. Well, who are these tenant buyers? The tenant buyers, of course, the people that are getting in the property. These are people that they want to buy a house. Maybe they've owned a house before. Maybe they've owned 2 or 3 houses before. But whatever their situation is, they need a little bit of time for either finance, or they're in a hurry enough to get the kids into school. That's really common. Or get relocated so they can start the job, that they don't have to go through 2 months, 3 months, or whatever, driving around every weekend with a real estate agent, then have to dig up 2 years of tax returns and get a DNA test, all this crazy stuff you have to do to buy a house, right? So they may have some minor credit issues, but they may be self-employed. That's huge. And imagine now how many people in the next year are going to be self-employed. Why? Because they lost their job. They started at a home business, and now they start doing well, and now they're self-employed. That's going to be huge. So where do you fit into all this? How do you get to help? Well, you are simply showing the seller the money they're going to make with a lease option. We even have in our leasing to buy system, we even have a comparison sheet. It's a very easy comparison sheet, and it shows right there in numbers. Here's how much you're going to make with a lease purchase. Here's how much you're going to make if you list it. And they're going to see right there, wow, I'm going to make $24,000 more using you, or $28,000 more, or whatever that number is, because it's normally a pretty high number, right? So they can see, wow, this is how much money I'm going to make more using a lease option. So you do that. You market the contract, right? Like I said, sign in the yard, online ads, beautiful house, no bank qualifying, etc. 12,000 down, whatever the numbers are. Boom, buyer comes along, you seal the deal. They pay your fee. And you've done the lease option. Now, something I want to point out here is this. One of the reasons lease option assignments are so easy, especially with the leasing to buy system, is this. I never, ever, ever, ever have to convince a seller. I never have to convince a seller. I never try to talk a seller into this. So, and I mentioned this is very important, guys, especially if you're on this call right now and you're a wholesaler, right? If you're a wholesaler, or if you've ever been in someone's office who is a wholesaler and they've got 2 or 3 people on the phone cold calling, it's like the boiler room down there, right? Man, they got the dialer going. They're calling these sellers as fast as they can. Hey, and they're trying to knock them down the price. They're bartering with them, trying to get them low. I don't do that. My life is so easy. The homeowner calls me and says, hey, I got your thing in the mail. How's this work? I go, yeah, we get you full price, no commission, short-term lease purchase. And it's typically cash out in 10 to 12 months. And you're going to cash flow, whatever, $300, $400 a month. Does that sound good? Yeah. How can that be? Let me get your email address and I'll get you information. It's so easy. I never convince a seller. So let me explain when I say a seller needs a plan B. So now we got Connor on the line here. So Connor, if you were starving, you're sitting at a restaurant and you're starving, all right? In Connor Steinbrook, all he wants is some freaking enchiladas. He's like, I want enchiladas. That's his plan A. I came here for enchiladas, dang it. And he's sitting there. And he's sitting there. And he's sitting there. Time goes by. He's getting hungrier and hungrier. And I come along and go, hey, you look hungry. How'd you like some fajitas with rice and beans? And this even comes with a sopapilla. Would you like that? Connor is like, nope, I want plan A. I want enchiladas, damn it. That's what I want. Okay, whatever. And I walk away. And now he waits and he waits. He's hungrier and hungrier. And he starts realizing the only other alternative is soup, like some boring tomato soup. Then I come back along. He gets my mail piece again. And my mail piece is, oh, hey, I got fajitas, rice, beans, sopapilla. And Connor starts going, you know what? I think I'll go with fajitas, right? You see, when there's no enchiladas coming, they love the fajitas, right? That's what it is. So I don't convince sellers. I simply go, I got fajitas. You want fajitas? You don't want them? Okay. Because guess what? There's no enchiladas coming. What do I mean by that? 3,770 homeowners right now in Dallas and Tarrant County are really wishing they had enchiladas right now. They were told by their agent they were going to get enchiladas. There's no enchiladas coming. And now they're trying to figure out what is plan B. And they think plan B is soup, which is to either rent their house out or horribly, maybe even let it go to foreclosure. Nope, I've got fajitas for 3,770 homeowners in Dallas and Tarrant County. This is what you do. You're providing the homeowners a plan B. Connor, how do you like that analogy?
Like, I mean, it's just the reality of the situation right now. They don't have an option. They're not going to get these houses closed, and lending requirements are getting tougher and tougher. I mean, some lenders have already moved to 700 credit scores.
Exactly.
It's going to be tougher and tougher, and they don't have a solution.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, they don't have a solution. And guess what? You show up at fajitas, they're going to go, let's do it. So, guys, again, the easiest deals ever to do, and sorry, there's an ambulance going by. The easiest deals ever to do are from sellers that no one else can help and in niches where no one else is working. I want you to remember that, guys. That's so important. That's so powerful. The easiest deals ever in real estate are from sellers no one else can help in niches no one else is working, right? Because think about that. Who else is out there doing lease options right now? Nobody, right? They're so far and few between. And sellers that we're helping, they don't necessarily have a lot of equity. These are people with nice houses, but maybe they only put 3.5% down FHA. They don't have a whole lot of equity. So a wholesaler can't help them. They're not desperate enough to let someone take over their payments and deed their house to them. And this is a niche nobody else is working. So now this is important. Did you know that what lease options are not? Lease options are not wholesaling. I want to be very clear on that. It's not wholesaling. Huge difference, all right? I know we probably have a number of wholesalers here right now on this call. And I even wholesale some houses sometimes if it comes across. Not my favorite thing. I prefer lease options. But I'm going to show you the difference between a wholesale house and a lease option house. So here's a wholesale house. Sorry about the fire truck now. So here is a wholesale house, right? This is actually a house I wholesale to a HomeVestor franchise. Here's a lease option house. Beautiful house down in it's Mansfield. Beautiful house down in Mansfield that I lease option, all right? Huge difference between a wholesale house and a lease option house. We work with nice houses in nice areas. Here's coming up here on the next screen is a wholesale house I did. And you can see the mold. It's just nasty, nasty. And let's face it, guys, almost everybody that gets into real estate, they start off as a wholesaler. Everybody's a wholesaler, right? That means competition is tough. It means you're not going to make as much typically per deal, right? So your wholesale fees start going down. Whereas lease options, there is no competition. And your typical fee is going to be $8,500 to $14,000, $10,000. Normally, I really don't do anything for less than $8,500. That's just, I just don't. And so our typical deal is $10,000, $12,000, $14,000. The house that's pictured is actually a house we did in Katy, Texas, that we got $35,000 on it. So I like to call it P money versus pool money. Now, wholesalers on the line here know what P money is, right? That's where you walk in and you get knocked on your butt because of the smell of cat urine. I prefer pool money. Now, here's a house actually. This house actually on the right is in Keller, Texas. That is about less than 10-minute drive from me right now. Excuse me. That's a house we did in Keller. Beautiful house. I prefer pool money. So did you know that when working with owners, now this is important, guys, you've got to understand the levels of desperation, okay? You've got to understand levels of desperation. This is so important. So remember, I said there's 5 questions I'm going to answer. Question number 1, where do we get the houses, right? So this sounds pretty easy, John, but where are you going to get the houses? Well, I'm going to tell you, the first 4 levels of desperation. It's for sale by owner, for rent by owner, MLS, and for lease. Now, what does that look like? Like I said, plan A, they stick a sign in the yard for sale by owner. I'm saving 6%. When that doesn't happen, they're either going to go for rent or they're going to go to MLS. And if the MLS isn't working, they'll tell their agent, fine, just lease the dang thing, right? I got to stop the bleeding. These first 4 levels are where we really target. For sale by owner, for rent by owner, MLS, for lease. Now here's all the levels of desperation. It starts at for sale by owner, works its way all the way down to foreclosure. Now you'll see underneath for rent by owner, I put investors or accidental landlords. What is that? Well, if someone has their house for rent, if you go to Zillow or Craigslist and you see a house that's for rent by owner, that homeowner is either an investor or it's an accidental landlord. What's an accidental landlord? That's now a landlord that didn't plan on being a landlord, right? That's someone that has putting their house up for rent because it didn't sell. Right? And that wasn't really their plan. That is perfect for lease purchase, right? So again, we work with leasing to buy, and my students, we work with the first 4 levels, And the thing is, most investors only work with with one level. Like wholesalers only work with, say, wholesale, right? Whereas we work with the first 4 levels. So we have access to a huge number of people out there and sellers out there. Now, again, before the call, I pulled up Tarrant County and Dallas County and showed 3,770 houses in those 2 counties that are over 60 days. Now, here's Ohio. I did this last week. So, okay, let me just, pick place on the map. Ohio, there we go. Pick 3 counties. Over 60 days on market. 3,177 houses have been sitting there for over 60 days. That's a lot. Then I went to, let me see how many for sale by owner and for rent by owner in Ohio. Now, originally it was just 3 counties. Then you look at 2,400 houses for sale by owner, for rent by owner, all right? That means within 3 minutes, it literally took me 3 minutes to pull this data. That's how fast you guys can pull it. When Connor was talking at the beginning of this training, as he's talking, I literally pulled up Dallas and Tarrant County that fast and said, 3,770. Same thing. 5,500 homeowners. Right now, they're in Ohio. This would be perfect for lease option. So guys, and here's the thing. Nobody is targeting them. Nobody. You'll be the only one targeting them. So again, one of the things I'm going to show everybody that makes a decision to get involved and make the investment with the leasing to buy system is how to work with these houses that no other investor can work with, right? Because what's going to happen is, even on, say, the for sale by owner, what's going to happen? You're going to get investors that call them and say, well, how much are your payments? Well, would you take this much? Would you take this much? Hey, I know you owe $300,000, but could you do $200,000? And the homeowners are going to hang up on them. We come in and say, hey, we're going to get you full price, no commission. All right. And again, these are so easy to do virtually. Now, again, keep in mind these numbers I just showed you are numbers I pulled very, very quickly, but they're great numbers for you because it shows a weakening market. And Connor and I have already talked about how this market's going to it's about to be a bloodbath, right? But lease options thrive in a weaker market. They thrive just like they did in 2008. So let's take a quick look at the real estate market. Where's the market now? Well, the stock market, now my background's the stock market. The stock market and the real estate market have have some commonalities. First of all markets are cyclical, right? It's not a straight arrow up. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. So all markets are cyclical. Now you've got to know what market you're in to know what side of the field to play for, right? And any fool looks wise in a rising market. Same thing with real estate, same thing with stock market. And again, this is very important, guys. All markets are driven by 2 things: fear and greed. That is what drives all markets, whether it be options market, futures markets, real estate. It's fear and greed. And right now, we're in the fear mode. We're in the fear mode. Because why? Because it's uncertainty. And uncertainty causes fear. So we're going to look real quickly here at the real estate cycles. This is important. Now in 2008, and I'm going to show you a chart here in just a second. In 2008, I had very good friends that were very, very smart investors that ended up losing their butts. They had to file bankruptcy. They had foreclosures. Meanwhile, Leasing to Buy, my company, was thriving. It was absolutely thriving. I was helping investors across the nation, and it was just incredible how many deals we were doing. And this is back in 2008, and I didn't even have really the systems in place to handle nearly as many as I could do. And guess what? We're about to duplicate 2008. It's actually going to be worse, I think. And you've got to be ready. You've got to be prepared, guys. This is this opportunity is not going to come along for who knows how long. Again, look at this chart right here. Now I'm going to take my cursor and point out the 2 arrows point to each other on the right side of the chart. Now, these 2 arrows represent where my company started. In 2003, I started Leasing to Buy. Had no idea what I was doing, didn't have a game plan. I just thought, well, I'll figure this out, right? And I did. It took me about 90 days. I turned my first deal in about a month. About a month. Well, then about 90 days, boom, I was doing this full time. But here's the thing. Look, the market was going up like crazy, and I was making a tremendous amount of money doing lease options. When the market crashed, if you'll follow this chart, 06, boom, 07, 08, bam. when this market was pulling down, I was doing so many deals that I would not market to homeowners for literally 3 and 4 months at a time because I couldn't handle all the leads. I would literally get like 30 houses in my name that I was marketing at any time, like 30 houses, bam. And it was insane. And then as I started getting down to say 15 houses, I better send out another mailing. Whoop, okay, I'm not doing that again for 5 months. Ooh, okay, because I had so many houses I was turning and turning and turning. Well, look at the right-hand side here, guys. You see that arrow right there? That was the very end of 2017. Now, this is put out by a Yale economist, Robert Shiller, called irrational exuberance. Okay? Now, he's showing right here at the end of 2017 where the market was already starting to pull back. Well, guys, it's 2020, all right? And everybody's talking about what a strong market we had. Yeah, there's pockets of strong markets around the U.S., right? But I was seeing nationwide enough weakening that I knew we were starting to pull back. Because, again, my background is day trading, reading charts. Well, guys, here we are right around here in 2020. Guys, it's going to tank. Now, Robert Shiller didn't know there was going to be a virus, right? But now we're going to have 30% unemployment, people that aren't going to be able to make their mortgage payment. All these people that are doing mortgage forbearance, so many of those people, all it's doing is it's taking, say in 2 months or say in 90 days, when that forbearance is over, they don't forget those 2 payments. Those payments, boom, stack on. So now this homeowner who hadn't had a job and maybe finally just got a job, oh, now you got to make 3 payments at once. Not going to be able to, right? The market's going to tank. This is just, it's not going to be pretty. So why is this so important? Because reading market trends are very, very important to us. They tell us when to absolutely explode our marketing. So what am I doing right now? Well, every 2 weeks, my assistant, Kathy, is pulling the list to my specification. She's pulling the list, scrubbing it, boom, 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 doing direct mail, all right? Now, there's other ways to market besides direct mail. It's just that I'm known for being able to take a small amount of money, do very precise direct mail because I know how, and I teach you how with the leasing advice system, boom, and convert that to leads. So again, the markets say right now that this is absolutely the prime time to be involved in lease options. And guys, it's about to get even better. This is the time to get your education, to learn how to do this, right? To do it properly. So again, why are lease options so great in this market? Because again, remember I talked about fear and greed. Fear is uncertainty. Uncertainty causes fear, which in real estate causes the prices to drop. When the prices drop, homeowners need plan B. They need to stop the bleeding. Days on market will go up and sellers will need a plan B. Let me show you real quickly here. And you all can see my camera here. I'm going to show you. I think I showed you this the other day. Connor, did I show you this house I'm looking at for myself? In Keller, it's this one right here. So you'll see it's a little bit of an older home, but you can see it's been rehabbed. This house has probably, I'm going to guess this investor spent about 70 grand or more on this rehab. It is a beautiful rehab inside, gorgeous. This house has a pool, all right? So I saw this over 60 days. This house has been on the market for over 5 months. This investor bought this house 1 year ago this month in April. Put it on the, did a $70,000. It's a gorgeous rehab. Spent at least $70,000 on this rehab, at least $70,000. Put on the market into November. Here we are 5 months later, coming up on 6 months, and it's sitting empty. He's even paying to have it staged, and he's paying for the pool service, everything. Do you think this investor, that was the plan? Hey, you know what? Let me buy this house. Let me put $70,000 to $80,000 in it, and I want it to sit there for 5 months. And guess what? He hasn't paid the property taxes on it. That's right. Mr. Jackson did his homework. I looked this up. He hadn't paid his property taxes on it in 2019. He owes $10,000 in property taxes. And then I pulled up his personal home. He hasn't paid those property taxes. And he just had another rehab of $70,000 he just went on the market. The point is, this is an investor that he is crying right now. And I sent him a letter yesterday, so he'll get it today or tomorrow. And I guarantee he's going to call me. Now, this particular house, I reached out to him from me personally, all right? But same thing. Doing a lease option, in this case, it's just for my personal house. where I'm going to come in as a savior and help him. Now, what if I didn't want this house? In other words, what if I had no interest in this house? I can still help him. I'm going to do a lease option. I would do a lease option assignment. I would tell him to keep it on the market at the same time. I'm going to come in, put it under contract for lease option, and then I'll market the lease option to my list and to leasing to buy, online, etc. Buyers are going to come and want that house. But that's just one example of how you can use a lease option. Let me move this out of the way here. So again, when the market starts tanking like it's about to, you're going to hear a lot about two particular type of niches: short sales and subject to. Your email box is going to be full of learn how to do short sales, learn how to do subject to. Both very great strategies, great techniques, but they have some downsides. Short sales. But short sales require work, a lot of work, okay? A lot of time too. I personally never want to do a short sale. You have to work with a homeowner, get them on your side, then work with a bank. Then back to the seller, back to the bank, back to the bank, back to the seller, back to the bank. Taking a month, 2 months, whatever. And then you got to sell the property. It's a lot of work. I don't want to do it. I get leads sometimes that are more for a short sale, and I know who to hand them off to. I give them to Nicole. But it's a subject to. Subject to is a great strategy as well. Here's the downside to subject to. If you're going to do subject to, you better have money or access to money. Why? Because a property that you're going to take subject to normally, not always, but normally is behind on payments. Maybe they're behind 2 months, okay, 3 months, 4 months. And you go to take it over subject to, well, someone's got to make those payments up or it's going to get foreclosed on. So now you get those payments caught up. Well, now you may have an empty house for 2 months or however long. You got to make those payments. You need some cash. With lease options, you don't need money. There's no risk, and each deal takes about an hour, maybe an hour and a half of work. Not much time at all and no risk. Now, to give you an idea of where I got started in lease options, because some of the people on the call here may be wondering, well, John, it's easy for you to do this. I mean, look at this. I just printed this off today. Here's our list of, it's actually a partial list. Let me show you this. Here is the list. I printed this off. Here's the list of the houses. I've got 3 pages of houses that we have under contract. These are just in, most of these are in Dallas Fort Worth area. I've got 4 pages of houses we have under contract. And what I don't want you to think is, well, John, it's easy for you because you've been doing it for 17 years. Well, I didn't start this way, and fortunately for you, you've got access to the plug and play model. But I want you to understand that you can do this, okay? I started in 2003. Now, my story, and maybe some of y'all can relate, is I worked a job I hated. I worked at Radio Shack. I hated the building. I hated the people. I hated everything about it, okay? Now, I didn't sell batteries. I fixed camcorders of all things. And I'd done it forever. But I did this for Radio Shack for a long time. And I hated my job so much. Here's a picture of a golf course. This picture is a Fossil Creek golf course in Fort Worth. This is the exact parking lot I would go sit and have my lunch at. I just have lunch there every day, and I would watch these people on the driving range hitting golf balls, and I'm frustrated. I'm sitting there eating my lunch, knowing I'm going to have to go back to a place I hate. I'm like, look at these guys. They're having so much fun, and it's Wednesday afternoon. What do these guys do for a living? I was fascinated. I was like, what do they do? They go play golf whenever. No, I don't play golf now. No, how? It's Wednesday at noon. How can you do that? Well, now, thanks to lease options and real estate, I'm the guy. I'm the guy out there that can play golf whenever. I can go used to be able to go to the gym whenever. But I can go do whatever during the day. So how did I get started? Well, I was still working at Radio Shack. My wife said she was pregnant. So being a responsible, soon-to-be father, I did what any responsible father would do. I quit my job. That's what I did. I said, okay, well, I'm going to quit my job then if you're pregnant, because that shows love and commitment. I quit my job because I knew I hated my job. She loved her job. She's a school teacher. I thought, I don't want to work at this place I hate to make money so I can pay a daycare to watch my little girl, right? So I quit my job. Now, I'd been studying the stock market for a while and wanted to become a day trader. So that's what I did. I quit my job. I became a day trader at home. I was trading stocks. I was trading options. And so that as I wanted to get into real estate, I was seeing that there's so many ways to make money in real estate and that I had to find a niche. I also saw there was a lot of similarities between the stock market and real estate, being I had to find a niche and all markets are cyclical. And I wanted to go in with very little risk, right? Because with real estate, there was a lot of different niches, right? Fix and flip, rental, etc. But each one seemed to have risk involved. Now that I don't have money to lose, well, the only strategy I really found that didn't have risk and didn't require money was lease options. So boom, I know what options were because I traded options in the market. So that's why I focused on lease options. So again, at the time, there wasn't much out there about lease options really at all, very little. And I found a manual through a website, nakedinvestor.com. Bought the manual. At the time, it was like $97, but it was absolutely basic. I mean, I think it was probably like 50 pages, 40 pages. It was the absolute basics of lease options. So, but it got me at least interested in learning more and I finally said, well, I got to do this. And so there you go. So I did it. So I found my first two houses driving for dollars. This one on the right with the trash cans there, that one's my first house of lease option. There was a sign, I was driving for dollars, didn't even know there was a term for it. I drove by the house, I saw the sign, it said for sale by owner. I could see it was vacant. I called the owner up, hey, would you want to lease purchase this house? He said, sure. So, okay, great. So I took my ugly sign, put it in the yard. God knows what contracts I sent him, and which is scary because like Connor said, you're only as good as your contracts. You've got to have very, very good contracts. But within 3 weeks of putting that sign in the yard, I had made $3,500 assignment fee on that contract. How did I do that? Well, I put the sign in the yard. I guess I made some website, some horrible website or something, but where I got the buyers, I actually showed the house twice within 3 weeks. People drove by the house, saw the sign, leasing to buy. Hey, can I, what's the down payment? How much is the monthly payment? That's all they care about. The next house over on the left, that was a house on Parkwood in North Hootron Hills, about 8 or 9 blocks away. Found that driving for dollars. That was a homevestor house. And saw the sign, called him up, hey, do you want to lease purchase it? Yeah, you bet. So I lease purchased it. Ended up doing that house, ended up doing a number of houses for homevestors then, for many franchises. So within 90 days of starting leasing to buy, within 90 days I was doing full-time real estate. 90 days, boom. And this is from someone who didn't know what he was doing. So looking back, 2003, 90 days is pretty quick to get it up and going considering I didn't know much. It would have been far, far, far easier for me to have a plug-and-play system like leasing to buy, like what I have now, where you just take the system, take the model, boom, do it. Okay, do the marketing, plug and play, boom, get your cashier's checks. Had I had a plug and play system then, I could have easily gone full time within 30 days, easily, very easily. And again, the leasing to buy system is very simple with some help. It's actually simple with just a little bit of guidance. It has a step-by-step process. And again, each deal takes about an hour of work, maybe an hour and a half of work. And your average deal is going to be about $10,000. Again, it's simple, but you're going to need to know how to structure the deals. And with the simple system we've got with the leasing to buy, it's so incredibly simple on how to structure these deals. Now you will need the contracts, which the system has. The leasing to buy system has all your contracts. I don't care if you're in Texas or Ohio or where you are, we've got the contracts. And again, you're only as good as your contracts. And I've spent over $30,000 of my own money on these contracts with different law firms and different attorneys. These are absolutely the best contracts for lease options you're going to find. What you don't want to do is you don't want to go to a real estate forum and say, hey, let me get some free contracts. You don't want to do that, all right? You don't want to go use a one-page document, all right? That's not going to protect you. It's not going to protect anybody. You don't want to do that. You want the best of the best contracts. Remember, Connor said that in 2015, he came to my 3-day event, And one of the main reasons he came was for the contracts, because they're the best contracts you can get. So I've already spent the money for you. And guys, I want you to know this is within your reach. It's within your reach. You don't need money to invest. You never need a loan or a credit. You just simply take the system, plug and play. You get so you got to get the houses, do the marketing, and get your checks. Get the houses, do the marketing, get your checks. And I don't want you to overcomplicate this. I was telling Connor, I think right before we actually got rolling here, that what I do is so easy. All right. Now, you've got to have the system. You got to have the contracts. But it's so easy that when I tell people what I do, they wait and wait for me to tell them more. And I'm like, what? That's what I do. They're like, no, there's got to be more to it. No, this is what I do. You just do this and this. So don't overcomplicate it. Okay. I know a lot of people say, hey, if you're going to get started in real estate, go get a bunch of VAs and do that. And what are you going to have the VA do? Right. I've got VAs that do a couple of VAs that do specific things. But for the lease and the buy model, it's so painfully easy, okay? You don't need a bunch of VAs to train and work with. You don't need a fancy and complicated CRM, all right? You can use a yellow legal pad. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. Right here. You think I'm joking? Look at this. Here is a yellow legal pad right here. Call sellers. I mean, you can do this literally with a yellow legal pad, all right? You don't need a CRM. It's perfect for you for part-time. If you have 4 hours a week, 5 hours a week, and this includes weekends, you can do this, all right? You can spend a few hours a week if you want to start. You can scale it as you want. You don't have to go on full-time. You can do this virtually. That's so important to do this virtually. Age doesn't matter. Here's Joe Seski. Connor knows Joe. He was a 19-year-old college student when he bought my manual. And at the time, that manual was very simple. I mean, it didn't even have nearly what I have now. So he's 19 years old from Scranton, Pennsylvania, all right? And he was getting a biology degree. He was going to college. He got my manual. That's all just the manual. And he did 200 deals in Pennsylvania as a 19-year-old. And now he coaches our students now. So it doesn't matter how old or how young you are, how old you are, how much time you have, you can do this. And again, at the end of the day, guys, you're helping others, all right? You're helping other people. So you can quickly generate enormous profits. You're helping sellers that can't sell. You're helping buyers that can't buy. And I want to make sure that's so important to me, because I don't want you just chasing the money. You're helping people. Remember, be the doctor. Be the doctor. You've got the fajitas. They may want enchiladas. They're not getting them. You've got the fajitas. Now, people tend to get scared, kind of nervous talking to sellers. Go, well, I don't know, John, what are these sellers going to say? Well, they're not going to yell at you. If you've ever done any wholesaling, if you've ever done cold calling as a wholesaler, you've had people, or if you're doing text blasting as a wholesaler, I can assure you've had people call you names and tell you that your mother never loved you and you're a piece of garbage, and a lot worse than that. But the lease option, they're okay. You're just saying, I have fajitas. No, I'm going to wait the enchiladas. Okay. Versus, so you're not degrading them and saying, well, I'm only going to offer you, 50 cents on the dollar. You're saying, I'll give you full price. So you think the sellers are going to ask you a lot of questions. Guys, the number one question that sellers ask me, when I send them that seller price sheet, the seller gets back to me and says, okay, this looks good. How quickly can you find somebody? That's what they ask. How quickly can you find somebody? Here's an email from a seller. John, hope you had a great weekend. See questions below. What's his first question? Average time frame to locate a client or buyer. That's his question, right? Not a difficult question. Takes about 45, 60 days, all right? Typically, in most cases. Pretty easy, guys, right? He's not, beat me against the wall because offering 50 cents on the dollar. He's asking, how soon can you find somebody? And here's that exact house, the house in Woodward Circle in Euless. He actually had it for sub by owner at the same time. Boom, you can see, you'll see our signs in the yard. Boom, I put my sign in the yard right there, leasing to buy. Why? Because we work with sellers. Sellers love that. I don't tell them, pull your sign out of the yard, cancel the listing. No, keep it up for sale. I'm going to put my sign in the yard too. Sellers love that. Why? Because you're helping them. You're saying, hey, I help you. I'll mark it as a lease purchase. Great, thank you. So what are some of the biggest hurdles that you may have faced in real estate? You think, well, money, I got to have money to get started. Where do I get the money? What about credit? My credit's not good. What about competition? John, everybody's in real estate now. Well, with lease option, guys, you don't need money. You don't need credit. Like that house I just showed you. It didn't cost me anything, $10 option consideration. I can assure you the homeowner didn't pull my credit. And competition. There is no competition out there, guys. There's just no competition. So let's get started here, guys. I know I told you to write, get your pads and pencils out. I want you to write, take lots of notes here on the different types of lease options here. Now, again, we're going to focus on the bottom on the lease option assignment. But there are three types. There's a straight lease option, sandwich lease option, and a lease option assignment, okay? So let's talk about what a straight lease option is here. I'm going to focus on lease option assignment, but I'm going to explain a straight lease option, and then you're going to see what the lease option assignment is, okay? So let's take this, I tell you what, let's assume Connor is a homeowner. He's had his house on the market for however long, and he hadn't been able to sell it. Well, let's just take this house as an example. Let's assume this house I showed you is Connor's house. He's trying to sell it. This is his investment house. He spent a lot of money on the rehab. And I go, hey, I like that house. I'd like to lease option it. Well, Connor, as his homeowner, the investor, hasn't been able to sell the house. I come along, and I said, well, I can get you full price. I'll pay you full price, but I need a little bit of terms. Those terms are a 12-month lease option, or whatever the case may be, say a 12-month lease option. So great. So Connor sells this to me on a lease option, and I'm making the payments every month to him. And then within those 12 months, I go get permanent financing. That was a straight lease option. Myself and Connor, nobody else was involved, right? Very simple, right? So instead of him just renting it to me, I lease optioned it from him. So I'm in the process of buying it, okay? It's a straight lease option. Well, what's a lease option assignment is this. You take Connor as the seller, and he can't sell his house. The house has been on the market 162 days, can't sell it. He gets my leasing to buy postcard in the mail. He looks at it and he calls me and says, hey, how does this lease option work? Well, I can get you full price, no commission, short-term lease purchase. Great. Connor loves it. I send him the numbers. Everything was great. Then I put the sign in the yard like you saw. Buyer comes along, sees it online. Hey, I love this house. How much is it? Well, that house is whatever, $12,000 down, $2,500 a month. Great. The buyer pays me leasing to buy that $12,000, that assignment fee. That's the option fee. That goes to me. And then they're making the payments every month to Connor. That's the lease option assignment. We'll get into that. But there's a straight lease option. There's a sandwich lease option where you stay in the middle between the seller and the buyer. You're just subletting the house. Then there's a lease option assignment where you're just assigning it to the buyer. So I want to focus on the lease option assignment because that's where you make money with houses that you don't have any risk. You're not making the payments on. And that's exactly what leasing to buy specializes in. Now, in a lease option assignment, there's a single profit center in a lease option assignment. And it's a very fast profit center, and there's essentially no risk involved. And again, it's exactly what I would recommend to anybody starting off in real estate, especially in this market. Now, with real estate, everybody's out there pulling their hair out, looking for deals and looking for, spending money on ineffective and inefficient ways to market, doing the same type of marketing everybody else is doing, competing with every other investor out there. And they're all posting about, I see this all the time on Facebook. Who else is hustling and grinding at 2 a.m.? Who else is out there grinding at 2 a.m., right? I can assure you John Jackson is not hustling and grinding at 2 a.m. Why? Because I've got the leasing buy system. I don't have to, if I'm hustling and grinding at 2 a.m., I'm not doing something right during the day, right? You don't have to hustle and grind till 2 a.m. You literally need like 4 hours a week of that to do lease options. So again, using my lease option system, you can just, if you can copy and paste using my system, there's no need to hustle and grind till 2 a.m. Now, again, most investors are just trained to use the same old formula that they learned from an online forum or from their mentor. And that formula is 70% ARV minus repairs minus what you want to make. Boom, there's your offer. Everybody, I don't even know where that formula came from, but that's what everybody knows, right? Well, here you go. Write this down. John Jackson's magical lease option assignment formula. I take their asking price and I add about 2 to 2.5%. That is my option price. I know that's really difficult math, but that is my option price. So imagine a homeowner that has a $200,000 house, and you as a wholesaler come along and offer them $130,000, and the homeowner's like, oh, I owe $190,000. Are you insane? I come along and I say, well, let's put the option price at $206,000. The homeowner's like, oh my God, yeah, let's do this. So who do you think is going to win, me or the wholesaler, right? So what exactly is the lease option assignment again? Well, it's where you're offering the seller full price. And when I say offer, I don't want you to get confused that I should say presenting. That's a better term. You're presenting the owner with full price. I'm not offering to pay him. I'm just saying, here's what I present to you. Here's the numbers I would present to you, Mr. Seller, that I suggest on lease option. Here's what I would like to market. So there's no negotiating. I market that. I collect my assignment fee, usually about 4%. So on a $300,000 house, it's $12,000 to $14,000. And I just do it, rinse and repeat. So here's a visual for you. It's the seller, you, and the buyer. So the seller, I remember I used Connor as the seller. He's got this house, and he's trying to sell it. He gets my mail piece in the mail, or I call him. Hey, I saw your house for sale. Would you consider doing a full price short-term lease purchase? Okay. Anyway, send him the numbers, send him the contracts. Woo, everything great. But the seller knows, and I'm very, very clear. Mr. Seller, I'm not the one making the payments. And there's, by the way, guys, there's never, ever, ever, ever any confusion from the seller that he thinks I'm making the payments, because he knows this is what my company does, right? If you're a real estate agent on this call and you're talking to a potential listing to a seller, that seller doesn't think you're buying the house. You never said you were, right? Same thing with us. I never say I'm the one buying it, right? Except in this one case where I'm actually wanting it for myself. Which, by the way, Connor, if I get this house, I'll invite you over. Maybe we'll throw a big investor party. But the seller signs the contract, right? Knows I'm not going to make the payments. He knows that I've just got this contract, and I'm going to market it. So I go and market it, and I assign it to the tenant buyer. Now that contract's between the buyer and the seller. So that buyer's making the payments every month to the seller. So again, I've got my contract. I find the tenant buyer, sign the contract, and I collect my fee. So again, I've got my terms all in the contract there. Sign the yard if appropriate. I remember you saw the one in ULIS that signed the yard. Someone sees it online through my online marketing. Boom, they pay me an assignment fee of $10,000. It's very, very fast with zero risk. Now again, let's recap here, guys. Why does the seller want to do this? Because so many people go, I get this all the time. Well, John, why don't they just sell it themselves? Well, because they've tried. That's like saying, you've got a cavity. Why don't you just fill it yourself? I'm not a dentist, right? Same thing. They couldn't sell their house. Maybe they're moving, relocating. Maybe they bought another house. Market's been on the house for 60, 90, 120 days. Remember, Dallas and Tarrant County, 3,770 houses on the market over 60 days. They don't want to rent their house out. They don't want to be landlords. Now, I'm going to stop there thinking, well, John, at lease option, aren't they renting their house out? It's hugely different, because with our buyers, they're actually in the process of buying. These are not renters. These are people in the process of buying, and they're putting that $10,000 or $12,000 down on that property that's going to you. Maybe the sellers have low equity. Maybe they have only had the house for a year or two, right? They don't have enough equity. And they don't want to pay or can't pay 6% commission. Again, lease options are far better for seller. They get full asking price, no haggling. Don't pay you a commission. The payments are covered each month. They're actually cash flowing each month in almost every case. It's a buyer, not a renter. Their buyers getting a home warranty. Everything's covered. So it's a no-brainer for most sellers. On a $400,000 house, that seller's going to make about $24,000 more using leasing to buy. So again, let's recap on the buyers. Who are these buyers? Why don't they just, John, why would anybody want to buy a house this way? Why don't they just buy a house traditionally? Well, maybe the buyers need a little bit of time to get financed. Maybe they have some credit issues. Maybe they're self-employed. Maybe they're relocating. You see, to get financing right now, and keep in mind, guys, financing is about to be a mess with financing. But right now, to get financed, you've got to be able to fill all the little boxes perfectly. Check, 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 check. Well, if you're self-employed, there's some boxes on there you can't check, right? If you have a couple of things on your credit, there's some boxes you can't check. So everything's got to line up perfectly to get financing. And it's about to get even more strict. These are the buyers we work with, right? So what is their pain on the buyers? They can't qualify for a loan, or maybe they're close and they can't quite qualify. They're self-employed and need time. I help with a lot of people that are self-employed. And there's about to be a lot more self-employed people out there, I'll show you that. Or they're relocating. They want to get the kids into school without having to drive around a bunch of neighborhoods for months. So we've helped buyers that were divorced moms and dads, single moms and dads, widows, traveling nurses. I've helped a lot of traveling nurses, executives, business owners. These are the people that we've helped. Again, you're in the people helping business, all right? I know I keep talking about you can make a lot of money doing this, easily $10,000 to $12,000 to $14,000 per deal. But you're in the people helping business. You're taking a seller that can't sell, a buyer that can't buy, and you're putting them together. You're the problem solver. So with leasing to buy system, guys, this number is unheard of. Over 98% of our buyers that come into this program get financed within 12 months. All right. So example, today, we just got an application today from a buyer. He has been self-employed since 2007. His scores, we do all the processing in-house. His scores are right at 660, 680 right in there. But he's self-employed. He's been self-employed for almost 13 years. But it's easier for him to get in through a lease purchase, get his ducks lined up in a row. And so, boom, we just got a great application for someone today that's going to, I think that was $9,500 on that property. No, it was more than that. I think that was $12,500 down near McAllen. So again, guys, you're making a difference in people's lives. And again, what are you doing? You're simply structuring the lease option using my super easy steps. You assign the contract, you help people, and you're getting paid to do it. So again, question number 3. Remember, we had 5 questions. Question number 3, how much will you make? Again, you're going to make an assignment fee. That assignment fee is their down payment. They're paying you the $12,000 down. It goes towards, it reflects on the closing documents towards the purchase. You're going to make about 4 to 5% of the price of the house. Now, rarely will you do a deal for less than $8,500. I don't do any deals for less than $8,500. On average, it's about $10,000 a deal, okay? Sometimes $12,000, $14,000. On average, $10,000. Remember, I showed you this deal earlier, Comanche Ridge. Well, what's the story there? Let me tell you the story so it's not just a picture of a house. The seller was Brenda McNaughton. She moved out of the house. The house had been on the market for 60 days, 70 days, whatever it was. She received one of my mail pieces. She saw the potential for plan B. She wanted enchiladas, and she got my mail piece in the mail. She goes, hey, well, here's fajitas. Let me call about the fajitas. Connor loves that. He's loving that analogy. I'm like, well, here's fajitas. All right. So she calls me. Hey, tell me, how are these fajitas? Tell me about these fajitas. Well, okay, you're going to get full price, no commission, short-term lease purchase. Okay, great. Boom, we started marketing the property, right? So she called me. So the contracts, boom, started the marketing. She'd already moved out of the house. Well, here came Brandon. Brandon worked for a commercial contracting company. He had good credit. He had tried to buy a house. He thought, okay, I'll go buy a house. And then he filled out the application and everything. And the lender said, you can't buy a house. What are you, nuts? You've only been self-employed for, I think it was like 13 months. Oh, okay. Is that a problem? Well, yeah, you got to have 2 years of self-employment. I didn't know that. Well, guess what? Most people don't. And he makes about $12,000 a month. Tried to buy a house, but only had about 13 years of 1099. Came to us, saw this house, $12,000, our assignment fee. He got in the house. So Brenda got full price. Brandon got a full price in a house that she couldn't sell, that she didn't live in. Brandon got a house he couldn't get qualified for because he only been self-employed for 13 months. Boom, $12,000 assignment fee on that contract. Now, there's some key takeaways here on this property. First of all, this is a very typical transaction. This isn't like, I'm not showing this like, oh my God, this is an amazing one-off. No, this is what we do. Key takeaways. I never met the owner. I have no clue what Brenda looks like. I talked to her on the phone. I never met her. I don't know what she looks like. I didn't need to meet her. I only saw the house when I showed it. I didn't even need to go look at the house. But when Brandon wanted to go look at it, it wasn't very, very far from me. I thought, yeah, I'll go look at it. And showed the house to Brandon. I had never seen it before. I met Brandon twice. I didn't have to meet him twice. I could have coordinated for him to see the house and coordinated for the deposit to be made. But this is all very close to me, so I went and saw the house. Met him again with the cashier's check. Boom, got his contracts done. Took about an hour-ish of my time. So again, here's another deal down in Pflugerville. This is a student where we JV'd on the house, $10,000 assignment fee. This again, this deal, the owner was about to relocate. They still live in the house, about $200,000 house. So Nick, who's Rick used my documents and everything that we have, all of our contracts, put the deal together. He JV'd with, in this case, we JV'd with him on it. And just over a month later, he had a $10,000 cashier's check. Here's the check he sent to Leasing to Buy. And that particular one, he JV'd with us. Jen flew in a $13,000 option fee. Here's her earnest money, $5,000. So again, you can do these deals, and you're going to make about $10,000 to $12,000 to $14,000 per deal. So question number 4, where's the competition? Now, when I go speak to groups, real estate groups, there may be 60, 70, 80 people in the room. And I'll ask them, all right, guys, how many people here are wholesalers? Well, inevitably, almost everybody raises their hand, right? Everybody's a wholesaler. Okay, great. How many people here have ever wholesaled 5 houses? I mean, lease option 5 houses. Wholesaled 5 houses. How many people here? Silence. Nobody raises their hand. What's the point? There is no competition. There is no competition. So let me ask you this. What is, in your real estate career, as you're trying to get started maybe, what's some of the frustration you have? Maybe you say, well, John, there's too much risk. Because I can't afford to lose money. I don't have money. I got credit. I hate nasty houses. I don't know how much repairs are going to cost. Too much competition. Everybody's a wholesaler. Imagine this scenario. What if you could destroy all those frustrations with one simple yet highly effective method? All right? Destroy those frustrations. Because with lease options, there is no risk. It requires no money, no loan. Nobody looks at your credit. You're not applying for a loan. You're working with pool money, not P money. And again, there's no competition. There's no competition. So who is the leasing to buy system for? The leasing to buy system is for anybody that understands it is far easier to duplicate a proven system rather than wasting precious time experimenting, seeing what works. Guys, I've done all the experimenting for you. I know what works. I've got the system. It's right here for you. This system is also for wholesalers that may be tired of burning through marketing money with little results. All right, trying to do the same thing everybody else is doing, you're burning through money. I showed you Jack Bullock and his daughter earlier. Here's the house they did, the very first house, Forest Ridge Drive, $16,000 in 58 days. So Jack had gotten the leasing to buy system, and had contacted his owner. This particular house was vacant. It was about a $300,000 house. Jack used my contracts and my systems in less than 60 days. Less than 60 days. Later, he had the tenant buyer. Boom, $16,000. On this particular deal, he asked if I would JV with him on it. We did. And there's the check that he sent to Leasing to Buy. And there he is with him and his daughter. And like I said, he actually started funding his daughter's college account. Here's a check that's from Stephen down in Pensacola. Stephen, this was in October 18. But I show this because it means a lot to me. Stephen is he's a great guy. He was actually trying to get real estate going, got the leasing by materials, the study, the entire system. He was in the process of donating a kidney to a friend named Michelle. I didn't realize how much is involved donating an organ. You've got to go through multiple tests. So he was having, when you're going through all those tests, you can't just work a full-time job. So using my system, he was able to generate income. Boom. $5,000, that's just an earnest money check he got on one of the deals. But that was his first check he got, it was just the earnest money check for assignment fee. $5,000, I think the total deal on that was $9,000. But he made $5,000 while in the process of trying to donate a kidney. And there he is right there, Stephen and Michelle right there, down there in Pensacola, Florida. Just absolutely so happy for him. So again, guys, I'm showing you this stuff because these are deals that my students got. Guys, using my system, using my marketing strategies, which you get in the system. And again, guys, I give you over There's over 20 ways I show you how to market. Almost all of them are free. By using my $30,000 contracts, again, you're only as good as your contracts. Never, ever, ever, ever use free contracts. If you're trying to use free contracts on something, you have to wonder if you really need to be in real estate. And by using, my formulas, my methodology to set the numbers, put the contracts together, I've got this down to just such an easy science. And by using my marketing methods for the buyers. So again, I keep talking about this, but why are lease option assignments so great? Guys, for you, there's no money involved, no investment required, no risk. There's no negotiating with the seller. It's much, much easier to have the seller say yes. Remember, guys, the seller wants enchiladas. You're saying, okay, well, I've got fajitas. You're not negotiating. You're just going, well, I got fajitas. The worst thing the seller's going to say is, no, I think I'm going to wait for the enchiladas. Okay, well, let me know how that works out. And guess what? In another week or two, they go, well, I still have fajitas. And they're going to go, well, let's talk about those fajitas a little bit, right? So it's much easier to have the seller say yes. And you can do them from anywhere. Guys, I can do this right here from the Fort Worth area. I can do deals in Ohio. I can do deals in Jacksonville, Florida. It doesn't matter. So when do you use a lease option assignment? Here's when you want to use a lease option assignment. Nice house, nice area, when there's no repairs needed, and when the owner wants full price. That is when you use lease option assignments. You notice that's not a wholesale deal. Wholesale deals are going to be an ugly house, scary area, bunches of repairs needed, maybe it needs to be torn down, and the owner has a lot of equity, right? This right here in front of you is a lease option assignment. So again, my company, Lease and Buy, has perfected the lease option assignment in over 16 years in business. I know there's a lot of people here online that want to get involved in this system and how to begin to implement it immediately. And you can begin to implement it immediately. Like Jason in Orlando, here's a deal. He had $12,000 assignment fee. Here's another student down in Cyprus. I have some Texas people here, $12,000 deal on that one. Mike actually lives in California. Here's a deal he got in Denver. It was a new construction, $1.5 million property, $125,000 option fee. So let's do a quick review here, guys. I've got a step-by-step, easy-to-follow system that you can duplicate. You can do these regardless of where you live. I don't care if you live in the middle of nowhere. You can do lease options, okay? The market is perfect for this. So what I'm offering you is essentially this: the gunpowder, the fuse, and the igniter. The gunpowder is my lease option system. It's step-by-step, plug and play. The fuse are my contracts, are only as good as your contracts. And the igniter is the current market, guys. It is about to be insane. Insane. You saw, well, I didn't show you, but Tarrant County, Dallas County, 3,770 houses over 60 days on the market. It's about to be crazy. So what are you going to get? What do you think if you result with the igniter, the gunpowder, and the market? Boom, your success is about to explode in real estate. Again, guys, if you are lazy, if you're in this call right now and you're lazy, which I don't you are because you've spent this time on this call, but if you are lazy and you do one deal a month, that's about $120,000 a year, all right? Simply by offering fajitas. Here's some fajitas. You sell fajitas once a month, you made $120,000. You do it every other month, so you sell fajitas every other month, $72,000 easily. So guys, I've done a lot of things right in my career with the leasing to buy. I've mastered marketing to sellers, and I show you in my system how to market to sellers better than anybody. How to screen the buyers, the numbers, the contracts. The entire lease option system is the best in the country, bar none. This is why the big dogs, the big educators come to me to learn this system, and you can do it virtually. Now, I've done a lot of things wrong, too. I didn't reach out for help when I started off. I was just fumbling through. I had horrible, crappy contracts. God knows what they looked like. I didn't understand the power of opportunities. When an opportunity was presented to me, especially when it came to my education and my growth, I didn't understand that opportunity. Now I do. And I thought if I just threw a bunch of money at marketing, somehow I'd get deals. Now I've got it down to I can really take a tiny amount, if I want to spend money, tiny amount, boom, and turn deals in turn those deals very quickly. So after doing this for over 16 years, some things I discovered are how to find the niche in real estate, how to work with pretty houses, do deals regardless of the equity, how to offer the owner or present to the owner full price, using creativity to market instead of money, how to do deals easily virtually. Now, I discovered all this hard way. Luckily for you, you get to cheat and use the easy way by using the plug-and-play system. Well, what's the hard way? The hard way is to do random experimental marketing, trying to use horrible free contracts you got on a forum somewhere, not knowing how to structure the deal, not completely using horrible contracts, not knowing how to fill them out, thinking the only way you can make money is with ugly houses, trying to negotiate with the sellers, and they start screaming at you. You're not offering them fajitas, right? If you want the easy way to make money in real estate without the risk, lease options are it. Now, I'm going to show you this. Now, guys, results, I always say this, results may not be typical, right? Because you may not be an action taker. Guys, I've trained some of the most well-known educators in the business, all right? They've come in for training, and I've trained them. But guess what? They were action takers. Some of the biggest investors in the nation have come to me to learn lease options and how my methodology, right? But they were action takers. Like Rick and Fran, I showed you there earlier. There's a $9,000 check they got. That was the first deal they got. And then they bought motorcycles, retired. Phil Cook in Colorado Springs, $24,000. We did a JV deal up in Colorado Springs. Howard Tran, a $19,000 deal there that he did. Karen Griffin, I told you about her, $24,000 deal. She lived in LA. This house was in Georgia. So remember, I said you can do them anywhere. She actually, Karen went on to be so successful that she really honed this system down. She ended up working as an educator for the flip and flop stars, Tariq and Christina Mahusin. She started traveling and training and ended up retiring. There she was with Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary. Joe McCall came to me in 2009. He's gone very successful using my system. He said that a few days I spent with John Jackson revolutionized my investing business. If you're even halfway interested in how to operate a business that makes very good money while doing it with integrity, then do whatever it takes, wherever you can, to see John Jackson. His system works. Ron LeGrand, some of y'all may know who he is. He found me in 2014 and had me speak on stage with him a number of times. And I taught him how to do lease options in Texas, and I've even he's actually used my system to teach some of his his coaches and how to do lease options specifically in Texas as well. And remember, I talked about Julie Atkins made $38,000 in about 5 to 6 week period. So guys, you can do this. I told you, Joe Siskey, 19 years old from Pennsylvania, did 200 deals. 19-year-old kid in college. Guys, I'm telling you, if you work the simple system will work for you. Finally, question number 5 is, how do I get started? How do you get started doing lease options? Well, you got to learn how to do them, and I can show you how to do them in about 4.5 hours. I'll show you how in just a second. Because fortunately, getting started in what's going to be the biggest opportunity since 2008 is very easy. Now, I told you I'll get your pens and paper. Write this down. 2 things I want you to write down right now: leaseoptionarmy.com. leaseoptionarmy.com, and write down the word Army. leaseoptionarmy.com, write down the word Army. This is very, very important, guys. So again, I've taught educators and investors since about 2005, 2006, and as successful as I've been and the system has been, late last year, in November, actually, I worked tirelessly to develop what is without a doubt the best lease option system of its kind. It's Lease Options 2.0. This is what I call the fast track to duplicating the leasing to buy system, Lease Options 2.0. When I say fast track, how fast is fast? How about 4.5 hours? What do I mean by that? I mean by the time you start the training, within 4.5 hours of this training, you should be able to start reaching out to homeowners and presenting them with fajitas. That's how fast. Why? Because when you invest in the leasing by system, you're going to get, and there's only a portion of it, you're going to get 12 videos that I've recorded specifically to be very short and to the point. Here's how you do this, bap, 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 right? So you get that material, you get these videos. You can go through these videos in about 4.5 hours, right? Because I want you to get started as quickly as possible. It's going to include all of your documents, all the contracts, everything you need is online, all right? But you've got training videos that you can go through in 4.5 hours. But the entire training includes all your online training segments, all of your contracts, and yes, for my Texas folks, about $30,000 Texas contracts. All the documents I use, my copy and paste emails, my entire lease option course. If you're from Texas, I used to charge $1,000 just for the lease Texas course alone. I've had a number of attorneys buy this for me, just the Texas course. I'm including it for you. You're going to get, look at this, guys. You're going to get, I'm going to show this to you because I'm old school, guys. Now, I'm going to give it to you online through the video training, but I'm old school. I like books. I like having a physical book. So you're going to get the Lease Option 2.0 manual. This is a beast, all right? This goes along right with those videos. So it's really flows step by step by step, really nice and simple, guys. You're going to get that as well. You're going to get the flash drive of the entire course. Now, I'm going to explain this flash drive. This is important, guys. I'm the only real estate educator that uses this type of flash drive. This has near field technology. You can actually take this flash drive, if you have a tablet, hold it up on the back of your tablet or your phone. It'll take the entire course, boom, put it on your tablet. I'm high tech. Here's something else about this. This flash drive, when you put it into your computer, if I've made any changes or updates to any document on the course, any changes, updates, anything to the documents on the course, you're going to have it. It'll automatically update it on your flash drive. What does that mean? It means this will be the last lease option course you ever have to buy. If I ever come out with Lease Option 3.0, well, you're already going to have it. So you never have to buy another course. Now, normally the value of this is over $3,500, and I've sold it for over $3,500. But normally you can get it for $997. And now think about this, guys. Your very, very, very first deal is going to make you 8 to 10 times your investment. I don't know where else you can invest. In your very first deal is going to make you 8 to 10 times that. I don't know where else you can invest in education, and 4.5 hours later, you can actually begin to implement it. Now, as a fast action bonus, here's what I'm doing. Now, when we are able to go live and have live boot camps again, I have 3-day boot camps, okay? And I've certainly charged $3,500. I've charged $3,500 for people to come to me and spend 3 days in a 3-day boot camp. As a fast action bonus, when you make this investment, I'm going to include as a gift to you a certificate for you, your spouse, you, your business partner to come to a 3-day boot camp. Okay, it's on me, so that it's going to be free for you. All right, you get the certificate, and it's free. You come to a 3-day boot camp. Any boot camp you want, all right? Whether we normally have them in Fort Worth, Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston. We just have one in Cincinnati. So we have them in different areas, okay? So now you're looking at over $7,000 value with everything, and you get to come to a boot camp for free. So again, it's only at $997. Your first deal is going to make you 10 times this alone, your very first deal. But I'm going to throw in one more thing here. I remember I had you write down 2 things, leaseoptionarmy.com, and I had to write down the word Army, right? So I'm gonna do something special for you guys because I love Connor, love you guys. So a few weeks ago, about a month ago, I did a virtual boot camp. Okay, it was a day long. It was 10 hours live. It was recorded in a professional studio. All right, so imagine a 3-day event compressed into 10 hours. We did live seller calls, we had Q&A, everything, 10 hours. Well, we've got that, and we sell it separately for $700, right? But I want to give that to you free as a bonus, all right? So again, remember I said write this word down, Army. I want you to use that at checkout. So when you go to leaseoptionarmy.com, you go to checkout, you're going to see this screen right here in front of you. Now you're actually going to see something else. You're going to see $997, and what I've done is I want to get you started quickly. You can actually do a payment plan. You can start for less than $400. You can do a payment plan. But I want you to add the virtual lease option boot camp where it says $699. You click add to order. When you do that, it's going to come up with a coupon code, and you enter the word ARMY, A-R-M-Y. So again, you go to leaseoptionarmy.com. You go to checkout, add this to your order, hit the word Army, and look what you're going to see. It zeroes it out. So you're going to get it for free. Now again, if $997, maybe a little bit, if it's a little tight for you right now, you can do a payment plan. We've got a 3 payment on there where you can get started right now, tonight, for less than $400. So again, you're going to get the entire training system, online video training segments, all of your contracts, no matter what state you're in, the Texas lease option course, the physical materials that I showed you right here, they're going to be shipped to. But as the bonuses, you're going to get the 3-day live boot camp, the certificate, and you're also going to get access to your free access to forever, lifetime access to the 10-hour virtual boot camp that normally sells for $700. You're going to get that for free as well. All right. You're not going to get that anywhere else. So these are great bonuses you're getting. I'm giving you entire training as well. So again, you go to leaseoptionarmy.com, use the promo code ARMY. Now, I want you to write that down. And something I'm going to do here, Connor, and I haven't even told you what I'm going to do here, is this. I am so serious about helping your fans and your followers get going as quickly as possible. Here's what I'm going to do. I'll be able to go into the system and see the first five people that get their order in, because it'll timestamp them. The first 5 people I'm going to reach out to, when I see in the system, I'm going to reach out to the first 5 people, and I'm going to schedule a live training with them where you get on the line, and it'll be in 2 weeks. That way they have time to get their materials, get their physical materials, go through it, and that way they've got enough experience, enough time with the materials. When we do a Q&A with them, I'm going to step them through everything, and I'll be able to answer all their questions. All right, so I'm going to do that for the first 5 people. Why only the first 5? Because I want to keep it to a very small group, and I want to take it. To be honest with you, I just want the first 5 action takers. Right? I want people that are going to use this stuff. I don't want just to. I put my heart, blood, sweat, and tears into this Lease Option 2.0. If you're just going to let it sit on the shelf, I don't want you on this live column to do. But it's only be for the first 5 people that get there and make that investment. All right, I'm going to reach out to them. We're going to set up a call in 2 weeks. We'll do a live training, go through the entire materials. I'm going to jumpstart them so they've got some clear direction on how to get their first deal as quickly as possible. Does that sound good? Does that sound good, Connor?
Sounds good to me.
So there you go, guys. So go to leaseoptionarmy.com. When you go to check out, add the virtual boot camp as a bonus. Put in the word Army. You got to put the word Army in there as a coupon code, and you're going to get that for free. All right. On that virtual boot camp, what will happen is it is ready to go. We'll actually email you. I know it says allow 1 week for the virtual boot camp. We'll actually get that out to you typically in about 5 days. We'll shoot you an email with your access. And again, the first 5 people, the first 5 action takers, then I'm going to actually reach out to you personally and say, all right, introduce myself, and I'm going to get you on schedule a call for training to get you kind of a jump start. So, and I've never offered that before, but wanted to do it for you and your group here, Connor. So I'm going through, Connor. Well, first of all, while I'm setting up the Q&A in the chat box here, by the way, so if you have questions, put them in the chat box. What I would recommend, guys, instead of putting in a question right now, is I'd recommend going to leaseoptionarmy.com right now and being one of the first 5. Go to leaseoptionarmy.com. For those of you that are not action takers, I'm just kidding. We can go to the chat box here. But while I get this set up here, Connor, I'll let you kind of give your input on what you just saw in this training and everything we've talked about here.
I mean, it's just a low capital acquisition strategy. You guys don't have to spend a bunch of money on, marketing costs, cold calling centers, things like that. You can do this with your work ethic and your time, and it's going to let you capitalize on those leads. They're a high equity or high price point, low equity deals that traditionally don't cash flow. So it's just an exit strategy on a certain type of property that you're going to get a lot of leads coming in that you can't do anything else with it except for this strategy, which is why it's so powerful. And right now with lending requirements tightening up, it's just going to be something that's going to continue to follow the trend where these houses sit in 60 days, they're going to turn to 90, they're going to turn to 120. And so this is just a great opportunity for these sellers. And the easiest thing to understand is, or the main thing to understand is you're working with the seller. You're not fighting and butting heads with them. You're trying to help them get their house sold. Normally what we're trying to do is kind of go toe-to-toe with them and go back and forth to see if we can both get the best price. And that's what the negotiation is. This is teamwork in a way if you think of it that way. So a lot of these homeowners do need your help, and it's a great strategy. And see a lot of people make a lot of money doing this over the next 2 to 3 years for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. It's going to be, there's going to be a lot of homeowners that are going to be super happy, very interested in seeing what the fajitas look like, So I'm going to go through, again, we got Q&A, we got the chat here. So I'm going to go through the Q&A here, Connor. We got Pedro, who is in Florida. Pedro asks, how can you do this without being a licensed agent? And I've done this for 17 years, never had an issue. And I'm in Texas, the Texas Real Estate Commission. It's a matter of how you position yourself. It's a matter of how you actually, starting off, it's how you position yourself and how you run your company, right? I'm actually there helping people. I'm not, I could literally, because of the way my contracts are, I could literally move into any of these houses I wanted to, right? Because it's my company and I'm signing as a managing member of my company. So it's a matter of how you position yourself in the contract, and also it's a matter of how you run your company, right? You want to, I run it very ethically. I'm 17 years in the business of not only having a real estate business, a creative real estate business, but also in the education side and have an A+ rating. That's something to be very proud of. Tony Flores, Tony's in San Antonio. He said over 3,000 houses available in Bexar County down in San Antonio, Connor. I guess that's 3,000 over 60 days down there. Let me see. Here's a question. How are you going to pay the realtor, and why would they do lease option if they won't get paid for years? Okay, so he's asking how I work with listed houses. I actually did an entire course on how I work with listed houses. The way the realtor gets paid is between the agent and the homeowner. I never talk to the agent, right? Because the homeowner is calling me, and I let the owner know, here's how a lease purchase works. And if your house is listed, you want to let your agent know that you're looking to offer as a lease purchase, and whatever you have worked out with them, you all work out together. So the many houses I work with are listed at the same time that we are marketing them as a lease purchase, but I'm not going around the agent. I'm not calling the owner. The owner's calling me, and I'm telling the owner to let their agent know, and whatever they have worked out is up to them. Do you do this with condos or listings that have HOAs? Yeah, most of the houses we work with have HOAs. Condos are not great for lease options, typically because of the HOA restrictions. They may HOA fees and the HOA restrictions. So condos aren't great. Besides that, the most buyers you're working with on a lease option are your family, a husband and wife, 2 kids, and half a dog. That's your family, and they don't want a condo; they want a house. Can you market your property if not under contract yet? To see, nope. You cannot market a property you don't have under contract. Does a seller, tenant, buyer see how much you make? Excuse me. Good question. Yes, I'm very, very transparent. So what does that mean? It means the seller, when I send the seller price sheet, which looks like this, here's the seller price sheet right here. The seller sees everything right here. The second line, how much am I going to make? That's the second thing they see. They see it. The buyer sees it. I'm very transparent. I'm not trying to hide that from anybody. How bad of a condition do you go down to? He's asking about the condition of the property. He's saying, well, if the kitchen is fine, the house is 30 years old. Okay, good question. So if the house needs updating, I'm fine with that. If the house is move-in ready, I don't do fixer-uppers. Fixer-uppers and lease options don't really work. Fixer-uppers are more for owner finance. People that have, say, 20% down, and they're going to do it's a totally different ball game. I work with houses that are move-in ready. They don't have to be totally updated, have granite everywhere, but they're move-in ready. To answer your question, it can be it need updating. I can lease option it. Did you say you offered $2,500 over? No, I typically take their asking price and I raise it by about 2 to 2.5%. That's my option price. I'm going to market. Okay. Now, obviously, that depends on if what they were asking was reasonable. Normally, what they're asking is about right. Sometimes they'll tell the homeowner, "I don't know where you got your number," right? Have you ever had to return lease option assignment? Angela's asking, have you ever returned that lease option fee, the lease option assignment fee? Have I ever had to return it? No. How do you work with realtors? Okay, I kind of answered that. Tony, how do I work with realtors? I don't contact the realtor. What happens is the homeowner calls me, and I explain, here's the benefits of lease purchase, and the homeowner says, well, how does that work with my agent? Well, you certainly want to keep that listed at the same time. Okay, don't cancel your listing, but you want to let your agent know that you're going to offer it as a lease purchase at the same time. And if you get a contract before we do, just let us know. And if we get a lease purchase, tenant buyer, just let your agent know. But whatever you have worked out with your agent financially, or whatever you'll have worked out between you all. So I never know. When you market to your house, Peter's asking about tortious interference. No, so I'm not guilty of tortious interference. Where you want to be, what you don't want to do, you don't need a license for it. You don't need a license. So Pedro, I assume is not you're assuming you're in Florida. You're not a licensed agent. You don't need to be an agent. What you don't want to do is you don't want to skip trace listed houses, skip trace the owners, and then call the owner. Now that's tortious interference. Okay. But what I'm doing is I'm just doing blast email. I'm doing mail blast. So you could even do this, Pedro. You could now, something you could do is you could actually skip trace the owner, get their phone number, and through Facebook, you can actually do Facebook targeted marketing to those homeowners, right? They're going through Facebook and boom, your ad pops up. How long are you going to let your house sit on the market? How far are you going to drop your price? Like, wait a minute, what is this? Boom, and now they contacted you. You were just marketing. You weren't calling the owner. Boy, a lot of questions here. Okay. You take risk. Okay. Yes. We actually help in our program. We actually help the tenant buyer qualify for loan. We actually have a loan officer and the credit improvement in place. And how do I pitch it to sellers? Terrence is asking. Terrence Mural. I wonder if that's in relation to Derek Mural. I don't know. How do I pitch it to sellers? Well, I just tell the seller the bullet points. The seller says, "How does this? I got your brochure here, or your postcard. How does this work?" I'm a seller. We actually specialize in lease purchasing. We specialize in full price, short-term lease purchasing. Everybody, you're going to get the full price for the house, no commission. And we work with, on the buyer side, people that are in the process of getting finance or very close to getting finance. Some of them are business owners, self-employed, and there's need to get 1 more year of tax returns for the lender's requirements. That's how we work, but you're going to get full price. We don't charge you a commission. How do you, so most of your leads are from direct mail. Mine personally, my personal leads, most of them are from direct mail. Why? Because it's so easy for me. I have Kathy, I can just say Tarrant County, Denton County, and it's done. And so it's easy for me. Okay, Pedro's asking, do you ensure the tenant buyer's down payment is applied towards the purchase of the home? Yeah, so what happens is it comes down to how the lender is going to look at it. With our contracts, Pedro, our assignment, if he's asking about our assignment fee we get, that goes towards the buyer's cost to close, or it'll show as their down payment on the HUD, their closing documents, towards the property. Now, where the lender puts that on the HUD, the closing documents, depends on how the buyer needs it, how the lender wants it. But yes, typically it'll go towards HUD required 3.5% down. Do I try to set up a down payment assistance? Okay, he's asking, do I try to set up a down payment assistance, like part of the rent goes towards the down payment? No, you can't do that. You cannot do that. In other words, you can't apply part of the rent towards the down payment. Now, they could pay separately, a separate payment every month if they want to do that to the owner. But again, these are people that have the money. They just need to get some things in place for the finance. Terrence is asking, what about homes over $600K? How do we find a buyer? As you go, okay, good question. As you go up in price, well, we have one of my dream partners right now just came on board. He's in the LA area. He's actually an agent. He's getting houses, about to get houses on $700,000, $730,000, but he's working in that price range. How do you find a buyer? It's going to be a little more difficult as you move up, depending on where you live, over $400,000, $450,000. It's going to be a little harder to find the buyers. Okay, you still do the same methodology to market with Facebook Marketplace. You can actually use carrot sites, online ads, etc. But it does get a little more challenging over $600,000, over $500,000, $450,000. How many letters do I send a month? So I will send. I'm going to hit them every 2 weeks. So I'm sending about 700 letters, about 750 letters a month. That's about 800. I apologize. I don't have a name. I send about 800 letters a month. Let me see here. I'm going through more questions here. What I was thinking about, okay, I talked about homes over 500. I think we've got, okay, a couple more questions here. Terrence is asking, what are some objections you get and how do you overcome them? The biggest objection I get, I really don't get that many objections other than though, because they're pondering it, the homeowner will say, well, I like the fajitas, but I really need the enchiladas because it's less meat and I don't need that much protein, whatever. They will actually say maybe, well, we've got to sell this house to qualify for the next one. That's about the only objection really is that they've got to cash out. They've got to have that equity, that money out to move on to the next house. Pedro's asking, my fee is 3.5%. The tenant buyer doesn't put down 10%. Oh, now if the buyer were to put down 10%, then yeah, I would give whatever's above my fee. So like this, guys. So here's a house, and I don't know if you can see my camera now. Here's $14,000. I don't know how blurry that is, but it's $14,000. That's how much we're going to make on this deal. Now we're actually giving the owner $2,000 of our fee, so we're going to make $12,000. But if the buyer were to put $20,000 down, well, anything above my fee, it goes to the owner. I've already said what my fee is going to be. But that almost never happens. I know all markets are different, but what is a good price range to start off between? Good question. Yeah, I would recommend I do 175 to about 350. Yeah, and then you could go down. I certainly have no problem going down to 150. What's more important than the price is the condition of the house. So you can have a beautiful, great house, especially like we have some people in Ohio that that's why I pulled those numbers where those houses maybe there were 150,000. But that's 150, 160. Boom, that's the target market. Whereas our lady in Staten Island, nothing's below $500,000 up there. What is in the email I sent? I've got 3 emails I send to the seller. Terrence is asking, what is in the email you send to the seller? I've got 3 emails I send. The seller contacts me. I go, okay, great. Let me get your email address. Fantastic. I've got a couple of emails to send you. Email number 1, how's the lease purchase help? Copy, paste. Remember I said if you can copy, paste, you can do this. I go copy, paste, boom. And it has an attachment that you get. And when you get the lease option materials, when you go to leaseoptionarmy.com, you're going to get all this. Email number 2, seller price sheet with a pre-drafted email. And so explains the numbers, all right? Boom. Email number 2. And then email number 3 simply has the contracts. It's a good question. As a beginner, what can you tell sellers for credibility? A lot of times believe it or not, I don't want you to worry too much about credibility. I want you to be more concerned about knowing that you really truly want to do an ethical and moral business and structure. All right. When I got started, the first homeowner didn't ask me anything. The second homeowner didn't ask me anything. Third or fourth, it wasn't until later that a homeowner asked me for any credibility. But that's always something that you're going to be nervous about. What if the seller asks me for credibility, for references? Sellers, believe it or not, sellers rarely ask for references. Especially when they're seeing what you're presenting them, which is email number 1, email number 2. You're giving them the fajitas, right? They're seeing this very well laid out methodology that you're presenting to them, so they very rarely ask for references or anything.
It's also, John, that you're not really interfering with what they're doing. They're still having it on the market, or they're still trying to sell on their own. This is just an extra option on top of what they're already doing. So it's not like you're really trying to say stop what you're doing and work with me. It's like, let me throw this on top and see what the best option is, and if we get an offer, let's go from there.
Absolutely, that's a great point, Connor. Is that because you're not saying, hey, use me only. You're saying, hey, here's an option. Then it kind of puts their wall down, their guard down, if you will. Who's responsible for repairs and maintenance? Our buyers actually get a home warranty through Old Republic Home Protection that covers everything, and they pay for that. Do I close everything with a lawyer? I do not. There's no reason I shouldn't say there's no reason. The reason you'll hear people say close a lease option with an attorney is it makes everybody feel warm and fuzzy. Now, I've done 650, 700 lease option deals. I do kitchen table closings. We literally go to the kitchen table or the counter, and here's your paperwork, and I explain everything in documents. Here you go, sign everything. You can close with an attorney, but the attorney's going to do the same thing you would do at a kitchen table. So what I don't do is I don't say don't use an attorney. I just say here's why people use one: make people feel warm and fuzzy. You know, it's not like you're doing a owner finance transaction. There's a title transfer or anything like that. Can you explain how the seller makes? Oh, let's see here. Do I put my sign next to a realtor sign? Yes. Yes. So my price is a little bit higher than the listed sign. The listed price and my sign goes right next to the realtor's. Sometimes I purposely try to position mine better than the realtor's sign. I put it by the street. I never moved the realtor's sign though. Home warranty, Old Republic home protection. How does the seller make over asking after their so the homeowner is going to make more using a lease purchase. As far as what they're asking, they end up making about a point and a half less than what they're asking by the time you remove everything. But it's a lot better than 6% plus negotiation plus closing costs and everything. I think I got. What if the buyer doesn't buy after the term? So if the buyer's not going to buy after the term for whatever reason, the seller can extend the contract if they want to, or if for some reason the buyer isn't able to purchase and has to move, they're going to move out or relocate, you're going to be the first person the seller calls. The seller's going to go, hey, guess who couldn't buy the house? Can you relist it for me? And boom, you get the house over again. And there's never, no harm, no foul. Anything changed when doing this long distance? Nope. So again, virtually, it's so easy. It's very easy. So we work with a credit repair company. We work with our lending company and our who lends in all states but New York, and they utilize the credit improvement company. Is there a down payment to the seller? No. We actually give the seller part of our fee. Maybe it's $1,000, $2,000. You don't have to, but we do. I think, Connor, second best way to find leads not using direct mail, I would use
wholesalers.
I would use wholesalers. It's a great place. I was going to say you can actually scrape Zillow and for sale by owner, but wholesalers. So I would go out. I would go to a real estate group, real estate club, and tell wholesalers, give them your card. I turn trash into cash. I'll pay you $1,000 for your low equity leads, or I'll give them half of your assignment fee, whatever. But wholesalers are great because they have all these leads they're going to throw away anyway.
Yeah, go right on for sale by owner sites, houses that have been up there for 45, 60 days that had a price reduction that are moving. Just pick up the phone. That's why I like the strategy because it's it's a work ethic strategy. You can just sit there and call these individuals. There's no cost to really do this. That's why it's so powerful. There's no dollars out of pocket to go into this on the front side.
Let me see here. You can do it with higher end homes. It's a little bit, Pedro, it's a little bit easier, a little more difficult to find a buyer for a $500,000 home. However, we actually have an agent that works with us, puts them on the market now, puts them on MLS. So we've got a huge exposure out there. Why wouldn't the seller want to go through the bank? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Terrence. I think that's the last. I think I got them all. Well, Connor, again, guys, like I said, it's an incredibly rare opportunity. First of all, you all can see this training for free. If you all are anybody's email list and you see this training offered, I can assure you it's gonna be a pay to play. So you're fortunate to be on this training. I want you to go to leaseoptionarmy.com. Use that promo code ARMY. Again, the first 5 people, I promise the first 5 people, I'm seeing the timeline, the first 5 people that get that make that investment on this call, I'm going to be reaching out to you and setting up an actual training, a live training, where we're going to be jump starting your business. All right. And again, you're going to get the virtual 10-hour virtual boot camp. We'll get that to you in about 4 or 5 days. It'll be via email. You get your password, your link, your password, everything. You're also going to get the 3-day boot camp as well, including this when we can have that again. And so you're going to have everything on the bonuses there. So it's a huge opportunity here, guys. And again, your first deal is going to make you 8 to 10 times your minimum, your investment on this. And you're just going to keep doing them every, if you do one a month, that's 6-figure income. That's not too shabby, I'd say. Connor, I think a couple last questions here. And all right, Angela got the course a couple of weeks ago. Oh, she's going to be seeing you in June at the boot camp. Yeah, we're trying to have a boot camp in June in Houston. So, we'll see how things work out. I'm ready to get back on the stage. Pre-foreclosure is not normally a great lead source because if they're that far behind, you don't want to get a buyer into a house that's 6 months behind on payments. Connor, I think we're good here. Any final words before I know we've been going a couple hours here. Any final words here, sir?
No, man, just grateful for you. Grateful for all of you guys that hopped on here tonight. Take a look at this. I mean, the main reason I came to you in the first place was just when I looked at the cost I was going to pay an attorney to draw up the contracts. I was like, oh my gosh, that right there is worth it alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, guys, you want to think about this. You got to think about like having a golf club or golf bag with golf clubs in it. High equity deals, just wholesale and flip them, buy them for rental properties, do what you're doing. Low equity deals that are in the cash flow range, 225 and under, potential subject to types of deals, contract for deed if that's option in your state. And then, but if they're higher price point properties in this 300 to 500K range, and they're move-in ready with low equity, really this is the only option. It's just like throwing 12, 15K checks on the ground if you don't know how to do this. So you should have every club ready to hit every shot, just like you go playing golf. And this is just a great complement to what you're already doing. Especially, it's going to continue to get move towards a trend of this being a more common strategy as we go through the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months and this market starts to turn. But other than that, John, you did a great job. Appreciate all you guys still sticking on here. There's quite a few people still on here. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, guys, I know you guys got friends and families and Netflix to get back to, but appreciate you guys hopping on here. And
real quick, let me say this, Connor. Guys, if I'm telling you, you want to write that down, leaseoptionarmy.com, and that promo code, guys. That's a $700 just freebie I'm giving you on that virtual boot camp, and you get to come to the live boot camp for free on me as well. So, and again, you can get started for less than $400 on the 3-payment plan. I mean, think about this, Connor. Can you imagine investing less than $400 and before your next payment's even due, you've already got a deal in the pipeline that's going to make you 8 to 10 times the total cost. I don't know where else you're going to do that, man. That's a sweet deal. But anyway, yeah. So I appreciate this. It's been a lot of fun, Connor. A lot of information out there, and I appreciate you putting all this together as well, putting everybody together here.
All right, guys. Appreciate everybody on here. John, see you when I see you, guys. See you.
All right.
All right. Cool. All right. Thanks for coming, guys.